is in your life that when they come in the room, they can change your mood, that's unforgiveness. When you see them, they can disrupt your attitude, that's unforgiveness. Whoever can come in and disrupt your peace has become your master. Uh-oh, I'm gonna mess with you a little bit tonight. Because while I'm talking to you, I know them faces is coming up in front of your face right now. Yeah. Those faces are appearing before you right now as a sign that these are areas in your life where Christ is not Lord. They're Lord. Because when they walk in the room, they take control over your inside. I think that's too much power to give to somebody else. I think that's too much power to give to somebody else. And with the anger, we're not forbidden from being angry. Anger is good. I spent a chapter in the book talking about anger. Anger is good. Say anger is good. We're commanded to be angry. I'm not trying to turn everybody into these little Pollyannas. No. Anger is good. In fact, you're commanded to be angry. The Bible said, be ye angry, but sin not. So there's a difference between anger and sin. He said, be angry. God told you to be angry. Look at somebody and say, God told me to be angry. But then he says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. He said, I need you to be angry because anger stirs your glands, your adrenaline glands, your fight and flight mechanism. I give you the anger as a protection so that you can have the sensitivity to deal with issues. You need anger so you can define parameters and let people know you're going too far. Don't go no further. Okay? Parameters. You need anger. That's what animals do to control their turf. You control your parameters. He says, but when anger stays in you, it becomes destructive. Because the Bible said anger resteth in the bosom of fools. So it's all right to have it, but when it stays, it becomes a cancer that is eating up your energy and your creativity and your vibrance and your happiness and your peace. Anger resteth in the bosom of fools. It affects your finances because you can't be creative. Because if you're going to stay angry, you have to keep putting energy in it to maintain it. That's why you keep bringing it up. Because anger has to eat. And you have to feed it with your thoughts and your mouth. What you don't understand is all the while you're feeding it, you're not feeding your dreams, you're not feeding your destiny, you're not feeding your creativity, you're not feeding your purpose, and the enemy is distracting you with all of that drama, distorting your personality, changing who you are, locking you out of the still waters that God has for you, and stopping you from giving birth to your next creative concept that would open up the windows of heaven and pour down a blessing in your life. He's robbing you, and you think you're doing it because you're strong and you're tough and you're smart, and all the while he's robbing you of the days you got left, of the thoughts you got left, of the energy you've got left, of the next thought that you could think. You're one thought away from millions of dollars. You are one thought away from the cure of AIDS. You are one thought away of turning your entire life around. But you don't have any energy to put into that because you're putting your energy into unforgiveness, anger, frustration, defending yourself against somebody who doesn't even care. Now I need you to help me preach a little bit. To 3 people, say, let it go, let it go, let it go. 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 What you're gaining is not worth you're losing. Let it go. What you are getting is not worth what you are losing. Let it go. What you are doing with your energy, since you have a limited resource of power anyway, you are fueling your history at the expense of your destiny. Because whatever you're angry about is something that has already happened. And whatever God has promised you is something that is about to happen. But you don't have the energy to step into what is about to happen because you're spending too much fuel funding what used to happen. That's why you keep going back to the same things over and over again, because you can't drive forward looking in the rear view mirror. But I hear God saying to somebody in this room, tonight is your night for a supernatural release. You're about to... Touch your neighbor and say, I'm going to break this cycle tonight. I'm going to break this cycle. I'm going to break it tonight. I'm going to break it tonight. I'm going to break it tonight. I'm too old to keep going through the same stuff. I'm tired of arguing with you about the same thing. I'm tired of letting you control me. I'm going to break that thing tonight. Take 15 seconds and give God a liberated praise. Sit down. Can I give you a little bit more? I'm going to give you a little bit more. Just a little bit more. I've been working on this for a year, so I got a whole lot. I'm just going to give you a little bit. It makes you wonder, where did this come from? They didn't teach it in school. You didn't get it out of a book. How did you end up in this cycle of grief, anger, bitterness, hostility, unforgiveness, even against yourself? You don't even forgive yourself. How did you get like this? We don't see it in the animal kingdom. Animals do fight, but they either fight over turf or food. They don't fight because she thinks she's cute. You took my boyfriend 25 years ago and I'm still mad at you 25 years later, and I'm gonna hop across this fence and bite your neck. You don't see animals having feuds. You don't see that in the animal kingdom. As long as you don't mess with what I'm eating, we cool. We don't see it in children. You can punish a child, and 30 minutes later, they're hugging your leg, talking about, Mommy, I love you, Mommy. They can get in a fight with the kid across the street, and the grown folks are mad for 6 weeks, and the kid just wants to go outside and play. You didn't come here being unforgiving. It is a learned behavior. Where did I learn it? I didn't go to school for it. I didn't take a class on it. I didn't get a tape series on it. You learned it in your house from your parents or family or people who nurtured you. You learn conflict resolution by the people around you. If your mama got mad and broke stuff, now you get mad and break stuff. If your daddy would get mad and walk out and stay gone for 2 days, now you have avoidance issues. And rather than confront an issue, whenever you get mad, you leave or sulk or bring up things over and over and over again. This is a vicious cycle that passes from generation to generation to generation, because we learn our coping mechanisms from our early childhood development. We all have the same feelings and experiences, but how we express him is taught to us. You are an unforgiving person. You have come from an unforgiving atmosphere where they define unforgiveness as strength. So you said, I'm a strong black woman. What does that mean? Or a strong white woman. I mean, you know, pain is not prejudice. It is an equal opportunity experience. Where did you learn how to sulk and shut down as a man and not communicate for months or years, avoiding confrontation, but holding on to unforgiveness? Oh, I lost them. Jesus, they were shouting so good, Lord. So now, God says, I want to bring you to still waters. But in order to give you what I have for you, you have got to release what you are holding on to. Because you cannot hold on to who you were and snatch who I want you to be. You can't be those people at the same time. You have to decide, this is personal, this is private, it has nothing to do with your church, your pastor, your denomination. You can go to a great church, be in a great denomination, experience great word. This is a personal decision where you say, wait a minute, I'm too old to go through this again and again and again. I must have peace. I don't care who's crazy around me. I don't care who's unforgiving around me. I gotta have some peace. I gotta have some still waters. I gotta have some tranquility. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Somebody shout, yes. Jesus said, forgive them 7 times 70. That's a lot. In other words, whatever life throws on you, throw it off as quick as you can. Whatever comes up in your spirit, as soon as you can, release it. Because when you release it, you say, that's not mine. I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm called to something better. I'm called to something higher. Only chickens eat off the ground. Eagles fly through the air. I'm too high to eat that low. Are there any eagles in here tonight? I said, are there any eagles in here tonight? Oh, yeah. This is your year to go to higher ground. This is your year to go to another dimension. This is your year to step over petty stuff and simply let it go. God says, he says, you have been through so much that in order to put you back on track, I need to restore your soul. I'm going to restore you. I'm going to bring you back to who you were meant to be before you went through everything you went through. I'm going to restore you. I'm going to fix you so you don't look like you've been through what you've been through. I'm going to restore you. I'm going to restore you until you pass through the fire, but you don't smell like smoke. I'm going to restore you till nobody would believe that you've been through what you've been through. I declare restoration in this house. God said, I will restore unto you even the years that the cankerworm and the palmer worm and the locust ate up. I'm going to restore all the years you lost being frustrated and upset and angry. God said, your latter day shall be greater than your former day. Who am I preaching to tonight? Touch 3 people and say, I gotta get it back. I gotta get it back. Find somebody else, say, I gotta get it back. I gotta get me back. I gotta get my life back. I gotta get my peace back. I gotta get my joy back. I gotta get my deliverance back. I gotta get my creativity back. I gotta get my happiness back. Somebody give him 30 seconds of a Holy Ghost praise. He in the paths of righteousness. 10, 3 people say, I gotta get right, I gotta get right. I gotta get right. I gotta get right. I gotta get right. I hadn't been right for a long time. I hadn't been myself for a long time. I've been in survival mode for a long time. I've been angry for a long time. I've been upset for a long time. But I gotta get it right. Somebody holler, I gotta get right. Now, it sounds like he's an idealist and not a realist. So he says, yea, though I walk. He said, I know the real deal. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I may walk through it, but I'm not going to let it walk through me. I shall fear no evil. I'm about to feel like preaching now. For thou art with me. Slap somebody and say, God's got your back. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod is the stick that the shepherd uses to beat back the wolf. I don't have to fight you. God will fight you. The battle is not mine. It belongs to the Lord. Shout yes! Shout yes! Thy rod and thy staff. When I get too far out, thank you, Lord, for that staff with a hook in it that pulls me back in line. Look at your neighbor and say, I gotta go. God is pulling me back in line, bringing me back to myself, bringing me back to still waters, bringing me back to my peace. He said, anytime you've got an enemy, I will send you a table to distract you from your enemy. You have to decide, are you going to eat at the table or fight with the enemy? The fact that you got an enemy is a sign you've got a blessing. For God said, I prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Somebody say, feed me, Lord. Look at somebody testify, tell them, I'm going to get ready to eat this year. Pressed down, shaking together and running over. I'm getting ready to release my gifts this year. I'm getting ready to release my creativity this year. I'm getting ready to take it to the next level this year. If I'm talking about you, give God a praise. I didn't understand this next one. He said, thou anointest my head with oil. And I thought that meant that the sheep was shouting. I didn't understand until I talked to a shepherd. And he said that sheep are so dumb that they have a tendency to stick their nose down in the holes in the earth where the snakes hide. So the shepherd can't watch everything. So what he does is anoint their head with oil so that if they do stick their nose into something where the snake would bite them, that the oil is a snake repellent. I wish I had somebody in here that has stuck your nose into something you didn't have no business in. But God anointed you so that when the devil tried to bite you, he had to draw back. And it's by God's mercy that you're here tonight. Identify yourself. Give God some kind of praise. Touch 7 people and tell them I got all on me. I got all on me. Every time the devil thought he had me, I slipped out of it. Every time they tried to crush me, I slipped out. say, my cup runneth over. Yes, 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 yes. The cup running over. Says God says, I'm not just going to bless you. I'm going to bless everything connected to you. Everything you touch. I'm going to let your cup run over. I'm going to make your kids a salsa. I'm going to bless all your friends. Everywhere your feet trod, God said, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to set an open door in front of you. And I hear you saying this. Stand to your feet. I hear you saying something. Well, if he's going to do all of that, why hasn't he done it? And God is saying, I can't do it because you won't let it go. But as soon as you let it go, I'm going to give you your rest back. I'm going to give you your creativity back. I'm going to give you your life back. I'm going to release favor in your life. I'm going to feed you right in the face of your enemies to let you know that my power is greater than their power. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to fight. And I hear somebody saying, well, I'm willing to forgive them as soon as they ask for forgiveness. As soon as they pay me my money back. If that is the criteria, doesn't that mean that they still have control? Suppose they die. Some people are angry at dead people. You didn't love me, you didn't raise me, you weren't there for me, you didn't believe me, I told you my secret, you didn't believe me. And they're never going to get to apologize because they're dead. Jesus, when he was on the cross, he only had 7 things to say before death took him out. He'd been hanging on the cross, bleeding. He'd been beaten at the whipping post until most historians conclude that his entrails, his guts, his intestines were hanging out. They had plucked the beard from his face. They hadn't just hurt his body, they hurt his feelings. They put a crown of thorns on his head and mocked everything he stood for. In your pictures, he has on a loincloth, but in reality, he was naked. They embarrassed him. They nailed him to a tree and stuck around to watch him die. He only had enough strength to say 7 important things. And one of them was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, the thing that gets me about that is, number one, he says, forgive them, and they had never asked. For forgiveness. Why would you release somebody who never asked to be released? Maybe it wasn't about them. Maybe he knew that 3 days later he had a big job to do. And he couldn't afford to have to face the resurrection if there was an issue still pending from the crucifixion. When you know what is in front of you is more important than what is behind you? You let it go, not just for them, but for you, so that you can operate at full power when you need to operate. I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody tonight. Now that you're standing on your feet, I want you to join hands with somebody. Do you have any idea who you were created to be? Do you have any idea what you could do if you would clear all of that stuff out of your heart, your mind, your spirit? Anger with God, anger with yourself, anger with people, angry about opportunities you didn't get, angry with deals that went bad, and you can't get the deal in front of you because you're still bitter about the deal behind you. When Jesus told them to forgive, they said the weirdest thing. They said, increase our faith. And I thought, what does faith have to do with forgiveness? You have to believe that what's in front of you is bigger than what's behind you, or you'll never let it go. Squeeze that hand. The person you're touching has a